Hello, hello friends, it's Meg, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the importance of maintaining and reviving your hobbies. This is something I feel really strongly about right now because I've recently revived a lot of my hobbies and my quality of life has just increased exponentially. And so I wanted to share some of the hobbies and why they're important, because I feel like as you grow up and as you become more of an adult and you gain more responsibilities and there's more stuff that you have to do, you kind of lose touch with a lot of your hobbies just because they get put on the back burner. You don't have time for them. But I think because as you grow up, you become riddled with a lot of things that you have to do and a lot of things that actually kind of drain your energy. Now, more than ever, as an adult, it's important to really indulge yourself in your hobbies so that you have a moment to recharge and really make sure that you don't burn out, because that's kind of what happened with me. You know, when I was living alone abroad doing university, I had so much on my plate, you know, not just academically, but like on the life front, you know, as well, of like cooking for myself, cleaning my apartment, doing laundry, all of these like adult responsibilities that I had to take care of. And I just didn't have time to incorporate fun into my life. And that really kicked me in the butt because I ended up burning out and just feeling like I couldn't do anything because, you know, I was not recharging my battery. Like I was only doing the things that drained my battery and not taking the time to charge. So I really feel strongly about this as someone who kind of lost touch with their hobbies and then reconnected with them recently, that everybody needs to keep their hobbies. Everybody needs to allow themselves to indulge in their hobbies in order to recharge their energy and their creativity. So now that I've kind of talked about why keeping your hobbies is important, I want to talk a little bit about my hobbies and how they've recharged me, because I think it helps to see other people enjoying their hobbies, to be like, yeah, I used to enjoy that too, or like, I want to be doing the thing that they're doing. And so I wanted to share my hobbies as a way to kind of give you a starting point of like rediscovering your hobbies. Let's get into it. So one of the first hobbies that I reconnected with was gaming. Video games in particular has been a really important way for me to decompress and recharge my battery, just because it's really disconnected from work for me, in the sense that with some of the hobbies that I'll mention later, there was a sense of like pressure to do it correctly or to do a certain amount of it in order to be a productive person. But with gaming, it just felt solely just for me to enjoy. You know, there was no caveat, there was no asterisk that was like, oh, I'm doing this as a hobby, but there's another side to it. You know, there was none of that for me with gaming. It was purely just for me to have fun and enjoy. And so video games have been really important to me. I recently started playing Tears of the Kingdom. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but
it's because my sister got Tears of the Kingdom on her Switch and I was waiting until I came back to play it because I didn't want to rebuy the game because it's so expensive.
So that's why. But oh my gosh, I played Breath of the Wild and I was like, there's no way that they can beat this game. It's so good. And they somehow beat it by like a mile, you know, like they beat it by a long shot. It doesn't take away from the fact that Breath of the Wild is a great game, but like Tears of the Kingdom is just so wow. I have no words. It's so good. And I'm not even done. There's so much to be done in that game and it's very exciting. So fun, and it's been a great way, as you can tell from me just talking about it, it makes me smile and it just makes me so happy to play. And so I think that sense of like happiness, that sense of like joy is really important. Another game that I really enjoy is Genshin Impact. I had to pause for a little bit while I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom just because I use a controller for Genshin and the controls are a little bit different, and so whenever I like hop between the games I like miscontrol. You know, I use an elemental burst when I meant to do something else, and like it becomes kind of messy and it makes me bad at both games somehow. That's why I'm focusing on just one, taking a pause from Genshin. But I love Genshin Impact. That game, the character design, the story, the gameplay, like I love all of it. It's so good. My recent sadness is that it's not even that recent. Like it was like last fall or something now, so it's been a minute, but like I'm still sad that like I don't know what the pronunciation is in English because I play in Japanese, but Aruhaizen didn't come to my party, and so I was very sad about that. And the Wanderer, like, I really love him as well, and he didn't come to my party. It was so sad, so sad. But fingers crossed that whenever they come out again, I will get them. I also recently got Hades and Persona 5 The Royal on the Switch. I know it's a little bit controversial to get these games on the Switch when I can just buy it on Steam and play it on my computer, but there's just something about playing on the console for me that's like really fun. And I know it locks me into the console, it's not great, but there's just something about playing on a console, like having a handheld console device and playing it on my little Switch. It just makes me happy. There's just a sense of joy to it, and so that's why I got it on the Switch instead of just getting it on Steam. Another hobby that I've recently revived is reading. I used to be an avid reader when I was like late elementary, early middle school. Like, I read so much. I loved reading. I was that one kid who was like walking to and from school with a book in her hand, like reading like this and walking, which was kind of dangerous because, like, you know, like cars and, you know, other pedestrians and stuff like that, but like I just could not put a book down. Like, I would be like reading and walking, which I don't recommend, but that's the kind of reader I was. Couldn't stop. Loved reading. But when I entered high school, I think that kind of love for reading got a little bit diminished just because I had so much like required reading and reading I had to do. And so any other reading that I had to do just didn't really feel like a break. It just felt like an extension of schoolwork. And so I kind of stopped reading, which was really sad for me, but like what I needed at the time was to take a little bit of a break. And then because I hadn't formed a routine of reading, or like I kind of dropped that routine of like reading in high school, once I entered university and I was no longer having, you know, required readings and stuff like that, I didn't get back into reading just because it was no longer like a habit of mine and a routine of mine, if that makes sense. And so I hadn't read for a really long time, but I restarted reading about a year and a half ago when I discovered like the self-help and productivity book space, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I started reading a bunch of those, but recently I've gotten a little bit tired of reading like self-help books because that was kind of like the only type of books I was reading, and I will continue to read them and I enjoy a lot of them, but I have gotten quite tired of like that format of reading. And what I loved about reading when I was younger was the fact that I could get lost in other worlds, you know, different worlds, and become other people. And so I started rereading The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, which is first of the Percy Jackson series, and it's a middle school book, I believe, and so the pacing is really like fast and really speedy, which is really nice. And I don't know, just like something about the world, it makes me so excited, and I'm really happy to be rereading it because I love the Percy Jackson series when I was younger, and as I grew older I just kind of forgot a lot of the storylines, and it is as good as I remember it, you know, it's great. And so I'm really enjoying myself with the reading. I actually recently got myself a new Kindle. This is the Kindle Paperwhite 11th edition, I believe. I will do a review on the Kindle once I spend a few weeks with it, but it's literally only been like a week since I got it, so that will be for the future. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it when it drops. One of my most recent revivals in terms of hobby is art. I used to draw all the time. I used to carry around a sketchbook with me when I was in high school and just kind of draw whatever was on my mind and kind of doodle. And it was a great way for me to like relieve stress and stuff like that. But I stopped carrying around a notebook, I stopped sketching, I stopped, you know, doodling and stuff like that after I got an iPad, I think, just because, you know, in artificial notebooks, like, you don't really have margin space to like draw, and it feels a little bit more final when it's digital. And so I kind of stopped doodling and sketching and randomly drawing things here and there, and I started doing more finished pieces on my iPad with Procreate, which was great. I'll put some samples up on the screen now. But what ended up happening was, because I was only really creating these finalized pieces, I had more resistance to like the act of sketching than the act of drawing. And so I kind of stopped drawing, stopped working on my art when it got too stressful, because it became more of something that I had to like be good at, something that I had to create finished pieces with, rather than something I do for fun. And so I had stopped, but my sister recently encouraged me to get a sketchbook again and start drawing, and this is the sketchbook that I got. It's bright pink and it is super cute. I put a little sticker on here. It says art appreciation. And I started drawing a little bit in here. Just, you know, it's very small. It's like the size of my hand. So it's very small, but it's easy to carry around with me and just kind of doodle here and there. There's no pressure at all because, you know, it's just a sketchbook. I'm not gonna post these pictures anywhere. I'm just drawing for myself really. And it's been really liberating and really fun to get back into drawing because, I don't know, there's just something really freeing and something really de-stressing about drawing for me. It's only been a few days since I got this sketchbook, but it's had such a positive impact on my life and on my days recently. So obviously it's something that I'm just now getting back into, but it's something that's definitely been revived and something that's been impacting my life in a positive way. And so I wanted to share that. So those were some of the hobbies that I wanted to share with you guys. There are a few more hobbies that I didn't get to touch on in this video, but they're not revivals, they're like new hobbies. And so maybe I'll make a separate video about it later on or in the future. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!